Alright, so here's a 4 tank box. And even among 4 tank boxes, this is a very unorthodox one. So I actually decided to first ban Shalinka here. Shalinko's exclusive was out at this point, and honestly, even if it wasn't, I really didn't want to spend any time tiptoeing around her with her annoying novel-length skill descriptions. I mean, it's not that complicated, but I just didn't really want to deal with it. So as expected, Anselm decided to pick a DPS first. He picked Zerida, which is a decent choice. So I stick with my usual plan involving 4 tank boxes, which is that I second ban 2 tanks to try to force a tank pick. In this case, I banned Juggler plus Elucia. Juggler, of course, is still very annoying to deal with, and who the hell wants to spend their time trying to figure out Elucia's chain hook? I sure don't. So I leave him with his 2 more passive tanks, which are Emilia and Freya. So of course he's going to be picking Freya. So since I went with Juggler here, I of course got rid of his Elwyn. I really don't want to deal with Elwyn if I'm using Juggler. And I get rid of Tiaras as well, because I don't want him attack blessing that Zerida. At this point, a well-built Zerida can actually one-shot a Juggler if she has Crystal Dagger. Obviously we're talking about a very high-end Zerida to be able to do that. But of course if he has attack blessing, it becomes a lot easier. So Anselm picks Deedlit next. Of course Freya can buff Deedlit. And Deedlit is pretty good at killing Juggler still. Well, anybody with magic is good at killing Juggler, honestly. So I get Layden, who can tank a magic hit if it's necessary, and I get to play with Light Genesis once again. So my biggest threat here is of course Zerida. If I can get rid of Zerida, the rest of the fight should be a more straightforward fight, which is arguably a little bit more in my favor, because both Juggler and Layden can lock his Freya's guard, and then I can take care of him from there. So obviously I can't just play keep away with the Zerida, because Zerida is covering most of the map, and I'm going to need to inch closer to him somehow. So I need to do things like this, where I sort of bait him into using Act again, after which I body block with one of my characters who is either really bulky or can revive. This is why, as you saw, I brought Shield on Almeida. I wanted to make sure that Juggler had the best possible chance of surviving, just in case I'm running into one of those really crazy Zeridas that can just kill Juggler through last rites. Obviously casting a defense buff on Juggler increases that threshold quite a bit. I'm kind of lucky that I got this map as the map to be fighting Anselm on, because this map has a pretty interesting layout. There's a bunch of pitfalls on the top and bottom of the map, or rather there's sky tiles, and there's quite a few sinkholes, forests, and fortresses on this map. They're all laid out in such a way that you can create some makeshift choke points if you have units that are bulky enough to jam up the terrain, which is pretty much what you're seeing me do here. I'm using Layden and Juggler as a moving wall to kind of protect my front as I try to inch closer to my opponent. And clearly my opponent has decided that it's probably too risky for him to just jump in and use Zerida to try to one-shot Juggler or something. Now I was lucky enough to activate a Breeze on my Tensei Jessica, which means I'm now actually in range to engage him. So I jumped Juggler forward a little bit. Now here I'm a little bit surprised he decided not to use Florentia to plug up the weakness in his defense. Instead he acts again his Zerida. So this allows me to just show off how crazy Tensei Jessica can be sometimes. She teleports Juggler into Freya's face, and because of B-Shock she is now locked down. Jessica acts again and then runs forward and kills Zerida. So now the match is pretty much over. So here's just an example of Tensei Jessica teleporting move block units around, and just the fact that she can even outrange assassins essentially, it's just another crazy thing that she can do amongst all the other things she can do.